So the leader in developing and applying these salient innovations was Portugal. Located on the Atlantic Ocean at the southwest corner of Europe, Portugal was the first European country to establish trading outposts along the west coast of Africa. Eventually, Portuguese explorers would push farther east all the way into the Indian Ocean. So Portugal took the lead in overseas exploration in part due to strong government support. The nation's most enthusiastic supporter of exploration was Prince Henry, the son of Portugal's king. His dreams and as far as overseas exploration began in 1415 when he helped conquer a Muslim city in North Africa. This is when he first got the taste of the wealth that lay beyond Europe. And so he saw that they had all these Portuguese invaders found like stores filled with pepper, cinnamon, cloves. They encountered large supplies of gold, silver, and jewels. So Henry returns to Portugal determined to reach the source of these treasures in the east. So he also wished once again to spread the Christian faith. So in 1419, Henry founded a navigational school on the southwestern coast of Portugal. Map makers, instrument makers, and shipbuilders all gathered there to perfect their trade. Within several years, Portuguese ships began sailing down the west coast of Africa. So by the time Henry died in 1460, the Portuguese had established a series of trading posts along western Africa's shores. There they traded the Africans for such items as gold and ivory, and eventually they traded for African captives, which will be used as slaves. And so, even though Prince Henry didn't ever actually set sail himself, he was responsible for establishing, the resources needed for Portugal to establish those trading outposts along the west coast of Africa. The Portuguese believed that to reach Asia by sea, they would have to sail around the southern tip of Africa. So in 1488, Portuguese captain Bartolomeu Diaz ventured down the coast of Africa until he and his crew reached the tip. As they arrived, a huge storm arose, battered the fleet for days. When the storm ended, Diaz realized his ships had been blown around the tip to the other side. Diaz explored the southeast coast of Africa and then considered sailing to India. However, he just didn't have enough supplies, so he had to return home. So Diaz was responsible for sailing around the tip of Africa. Finally, with the tip of Africa rounded, the Portuguese continued to push east, and in 1497, Vasco da Gama began exploring the East African coast. And in 1498, he reached the port of Calicut on the southwestern coast of India. And so da Gama and his crew saw that that India had all these spices, the silks, the gems. These are the things that the Portuguese had had begun exploring for in the first place. In fact, when they returned to Portugal in 1499, their cargo was worth 60 times the actual cost of the voyage. And so Vasco da Gama gives Portugal a direct sea route to India. As you see here, though, the other leading European country in the early areas of exploration were the Spanish. And so the next video, we're going to see how the Spanish also laid claims to early areas of exploration.